everyday heroes.
Heroes of the London Bridge attack. In the midst of the gruesome and senseless acts on Londoners over the weekend, a number of heroes stepped up and likely prevented more killings. Journalist and martial artist Geoff Ho says he saw the men attacking a bouncer outside a bar and immediately raced in to help. Moments later, he was stabbed in the throat. Reports indicate he is recovering in the hospital but is unable to speak for now. Get well soon, Geoff. This cab driver says he picked a woman up who told him the story of how she realized the knife-wielding men were about to make their way into the restaurant she was at, and rather than run, she did everything she could to hold the door shut. The cabbie says she said the men eventually overpowered her, but she managed to escape through a back entrance along with others. He believes she may have saved about 20 lives. Meanwhile, an unnamed off-duty officer of the British Transport Police, armed with only his baton, reportedly rugby tackled one of the terrorists to the ground. He sustained knife injuries to the face, but is also said to be recovering. Salute. As several heroic efforts are now coming to light, this man is also getting credit online for what appears to be his version of not letting the terrorists win. As people ran for their lives from the men brandishing large knives, the British bloke apparently wasn't willing to leave without his pint. The photo has racked up more than 105,000 likes and 34,000 retweets so far, with many calling his move one that represents the true spirit of London. Amen to him and to the rest of our everyday heroes.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Sadly, this stabbing spree is only the latest to go down in London.
1 dead, 5 injured in London mass stabbing. A man suspected to be mentally ill went on a stabbing spree in central London on Wednesday night, August 3rd. The 19-year-old had been wielding a knife in a busy area near Russell Square. At around 10:30 p.m., he started attacking people with his weapon. He injured 6 people. One of his victims was a woman in her 60s. She later died. Police arrived within minutes and took down the attacker with a taser before arresting him. As a result of the knife attack, the city has increased the number of patrols and armed officers on the streets. Beat police in the UK generally don't carry guns.
Unarmed police officer stabbed to death in UK Parliament attack. At least 5 people have died in an apparent terrorist attack that took place in London near the Houses of Parliament on Wednesday, a date that coincided with the first anniversary of deadly suicide bombings in Brussels. The attack came as the Westminster Bridge was packed with tourists and pedestrians, and while Parliament was in session. After mowing down at least 20 people, the car sped toward the Palace of Westminster and only came to a halt when it crashed into the railings of the new palace yard. The suspect then ran to the Parliament grounds, where he stabbed and killed an unarmed police officer. The man was then shot dead by armed officers. The attacker has not yet been identified. It is believed that he acted alone. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. UK cops put down Islamist terror suspect after he kills 5 in Westminster, including one of their own. 5 people, including a veteran British cop, were killed, and dozens more injured, following a terror attack near the UK Parliament in London. According to reports, police believe the knifeman was inspired by Islamic terror attacks. The suspected jihadi started his attack by mowing down pedestrian after pedestrian on Westminster Bridge, before smashing into the railings outside the UK Parliament. Also known as the House of Commons, that's the British seat of power. Next, he reportedly knifed veteran British police officer Keith Palmer to death, and was later killed by 2 plainclothes officers outside the House of Commons. Palmer, a husband and father, served on the London Metropolitan Police Force for 15 years.
London tube attacker had ISIS images on his cell phone. The man who went postal and slashed a 56-year-old man inside a London subway station over the weekend already claimed that his motive was ISIS-related after he shouted, "This is for Syria," during the attack. But that connection with the extremist group has become even stronger after British authorities discovered ISIS-related photos on the man's phone, including flags associated with the Islamic State. Moyadin Mire approached his victim in the tube station in Leytonstone at around 7 p.m. on Saturday and reportedly sawed at the man's neck before threatening other passerby. Responding police officers used stun guns to eventually disarm the attacker. When officers searched the 29-year-old's phone after the attack, they found photos from last month's Paris terrorist attacks, and that's not all. According to CNN, authorities also found photos on Mira's phone from last week's heinous killings at a social services agency in San Bernardino, California. While not exactly claiming credit for it, ISIS has applauded that incident, which left 14 dead after a husband and wife duo opened fire on government agency employees. A search of Mira's phone's web history indicates that the Somali-born Londoner has previously searched for information about Islamic State and knife attacks carried out by Palestinians. The Scotland Yard is treating Saturday's knife attack as a terrorist incident, and the Westminster Magistrates Court has deemed Mira a danger to the public due to his apparent mental health issues. He has been charged with 1 count of attempted murder.